Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back to the planet at no cost to you, and there's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement. Only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
The Bachelorette and Friends. From first love to happy ever after.
What's that?
From dating to dick pics.
Oh my. Oh no!
The Bachelorette and Friends. Oh, I love a good dick.
This podcast contains sexual references, coarse language, and adult themes from the beginning and throughout. It is not recommended for listeners under the age of 15.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Bachelorette and Friends. I'm Carla Anita Matiazzo, and today's guest is the sassy, dancing, accounting Lauren Thiel. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure, treasure. So, Lauren, can you tell our listeners how we met?
Yes, I think it was in the Adelaide Fringe of 2020. There's probably a night that we met on a dance floor where I would have probably been partying a little too hard. I don't remember. But the one I do remember was at your cabaret show, and I had purchased tickets to come along with some friends, and I was watching your show and was like, oh my goodness, it's like you have read my diary. And I'm pretty sure I ran up to you afterwards and was like, girl, like if you ever need any content, I've got about 4 hours worth. And you were like, I've got about 4 weeks worth, don't worry.
And I think my dad also got me in contact with you, RE Accounting as well, I think.
Yes, that's right. I don't think we had actually met. I think we had spoken because he was like, you two need to meet. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Good old dad. Okay, so to bring the listeners up to speed, this podcast is based on the premise of my award-winning cabaret show, The Bachelorette, There's Always a Catch, where I talk and sing about my first love to what I thought was happy ever after and everything in between. So seeing as it was like watching your diary unfold, Lauren, let's start with first crushes. So can you tell me a bit about your first crush and what happened there?
I feel like I don't know if we underestimate how kids actually have like romantic and maybe even borderline like sexual thoughts way younger than we think. But I recall, I mean, look, you know, in reception there's the whole like I really want to hold this person's hand situation. But the first one I think I really had a crush on was a family friend, and I wrote in my diary in year 6 in big capital letters, like we're about to go on camp together, and I was like, I want to F word, insert name here, on camp.
Did you understand what that meant?
Look, I'm not 100% sure that I did, but I feel like I knew the basic logistics. Yeah. Like I was like, I want this guy. Like, yes, please. But funny, I can't believe I'm saying all of this while we're recording. But anyway, turns out later in life, at maybe like 19 or 20 or something, we did get together. Yeah. Just for, you know, a fun time. But that's how my parents found out that I was not as pure as maybe they had assumed. So
what do you mean?
So what was a family friend, and so I think they had either, you know, I think they had their head buried in the sand about the reality of my love life up to that point, but that's how they found out. So yeah.
I love it. I love it so much.
So yeah, that's my first crush.
Sweet. Okay, so from that, I talk about in a lot of the episodes about teenage romance and relationships being training wheel relationships, where we learn about the basics of boundaries and whatnot and sexuality and all that kind of stuff. So can you walk us through some of your teenage romance experiences and what you learnt from those training wheel relationships?
Yes. You know what? As a tween, like a young teen, I almost acted like the dolly doctor of our group, and yet I had no experience up to that point. So it seemed a classic, like very educated, but no experience. And then I had my first kiss, and it was at that time that they also sort of took things to second base. So I feel like in that moment, that felt really quick to me.
So what's second base, Lauren? I always get confused what second base is.
Just a little bit of fingering.
Gotcha. Okay, so first base,
like boob grabbing and
some penetration with the fingers. Yeah.
So to go from like 0 to that for me in that moment was quite a lot. And I had a really lovely like friend. She was a couple years older than me, and I like called her immediately after and I was in tears. And it was like one of those things where she's like, but this, was this obviously something you were okay with? Like, was this, him pushing a boundary here, or was this you being open to that? I was like, no, actually, like I was, I was involved in this and this was totally fine in the moment. I'm just now feeling probably like a post-event guilt. And she's like, cool. Okay, you're actually in a safe situation. You were just like going with your own body's flow and what you wanted in that moment. That is okay. You do not need to feel guilty about doing something.
That's really good.
Whole, like, tied to, I don't know, religious guilt and stuff at the time. So what I learned about that in that moment, was two things of like self-awareness and reflection of like, was this something happening because I wanted it to, or because I was being succumbed to their influence? Mm-hmm. But also, it's totally okay if you're into it. Like, like learning about what you want and what your body wants at a young age was really important. And so she was a great guide for me.
That's lovely.
That out. Yeah.
So do you think
it's not always bad?
Yeah. So do you think the guilt, you just touched on it before, was religious guilt? Because I know, brought up as a Catholic, fucking hell, there was a lot of guilt that I maybe only got rid of in my 20s, Lauren, about sex and sexual experience. So can you walk us through a little bit more detail on what exactly that guilt was for you? Or do you think it's also a female thing that we are expected to be the pure ones until the last moment that we can be?
For me, it was probably mostly the religious driven part. I think some women definitely do have it tied to their femininity and desirability. Is that a word? Anyway, for me, it was definitely religious type. Like I had grew up like Lutheran, loving parents, all of, that stuff. But for some reason, it's like the one of the million other commandments and great messages that maybe are in there that is focused on so much. And it's like the thing I didn't ever understand with it was, so I'm meant to not have any experience and not any education about sex and my sexuality and that passion until literally the day you get married, and then all of a sudden you're meant to have this perfect relationship with your partner in that way, and you're just meant to nail it. I was like, this is so weird. Yeah. And also, my thing was like, at that point was still, like working through a lot of that. And I went, but like, if God made me and he made my bits want this, why is it wrong? And so there was this huge, like, challenge happening in my mind between like, I'm a very sexual woman, like, and I'm a very confident, passionate, like person and lover and body confident, and I love being naked and all of this stuff. So it was a massive, massive like dilemma for me. Yeah. That's a great word. Yes. Disconnect for me. So I'm probably like you, and it took me like through my teens of like doing it anyway, kind of, and then just feeling guilty about it, into my 20s of owning it a little bit more. And now I'm just like, you know, this is me, take it or leave it. And like,
correct.
Totally okay with everything. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey for me.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? The underpinning thoughts and feelings that we have. And I wonder if it plays a part in both sexes. I wonder if it does, because I haven't asked this question before, like asking someone to unpack the guilty feelings. And I guess with the male guests, they haven't reflected upon feeling guilty, but female guests have. So it's interesting. It's really interesting.
I mean, it could also be argument, though, that there's less awareness in our, you know, male counterparts and less reflection in general, maybe as they're growing up, where they seem to be like big thinkers, big talkers, you know, screenshots of every message that's sent and then share with your friends and like, what does this mean? We reflect on everything too much, probably. Just go with the flow, baby, enjoy it. If you're having a good time, keep going. If you're not, stop. Like, that's really as simple as it should be.
Yeah, and that's great. I think that's a great message to put out there, Lauren. So from that experience, what took you to your dating world as an adult? How long did it take for you to work out what your dating style was, what your expectations are when it comes to dating, or do you not have any expectations and you just go with the flow?
I wish I could just go with the flow. Oh my goodness. There is no flow that I have not designed or
sound like me. Yeah.
Any facet of my life. I try really hard. Like, even like right now I've got a crush and I'm like, yeah, just be cool. Like, just can be cool. Like, I'm just not. You know what? I'm just not. But the positive, like, so what I have realized is, I guess, in my relationship development is I am a passionate person.
Yes.
I dip my toe and then I dive I dive straight in the deep end.
Yeah.
But if it's not serving me, I am also straight out like, no, that's a lie. I work on everything and I probably stay too long, probably 6 months longer than I should. But I do, like, I give it a red hot go. I'm straight in, but I also have very clear boundaries in, you know, my life and what I will accept and what I won't accept. So I think that's really good. I've learned to be a much better communicator. I think I've learned also, I don't know, maybe this is a thing that I think I even remember the conversation with my mum. So like there was very early on, I had a boyfriend who, you know, I could tell it wasn't really going where I wanted it to go. I wanted it to get out and I kind of liked somebody else. Yeah. And I was like, maybe I can just like have a bit of a moment or go on a bit of a date with this like new guy and then I'll break up with the old one.
Keeping your options open.
Yeah, so like I've got a long-term boyfriend at this point and I'm considering cheating, not doing it. But I was like, I think that, you know, it's just really, it's dying out. Like I think I was going down the ghosting path, which is really like not okay. So I talked to my mum about it. We're pretty close. And she's like, okay, look, Lauren, you need to understand that you can't, what did she say? You need to make each decision independent of the other. So you can't go, which boy is better than the other. Yeah, you can't compare them. Is relationship A working, yes or no? And if relationship A is not working, then you deal with that. Then you can start thinking about relationship B and whether that's something you want to do. Wise woman. Go A or B. And that stuck with me forever. Like, because I think it's human nature. I'm going on a massive tangent here, sorry. But you're allowed. I feel like it's a big learning because human beings in relationships, I don't even know how I feel about whether like long-term relationships are realistic. I haven't figured out how they work. I think they're great and I think we should aspire to that. And I want that, but I don't know how people do it. And so I go, okay, it's obviously in us that we get bored, we get frustrated, we need, to spice it up, whatever it is. And I'm really happy that I learned that particular message early on, in that you can't just try it on for size. You can't just shop around. That you need to have dealt with the first issue or question or problem first, and then you can go and do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great that you've got some people in your life, it sounds like the older person when you were a teenager giving you advice, and then having that relationship with your mum where you can be so open and candid without judgment, and your mum just goes, okay, well, look, these are your options. I think that that's a gift, and really, really lovely.
Yeah, me too. I don't even remember what your initial question was. I'm sorry.
Don't even worry. I don't either. Okay. So let's push forward.
Okay.
So do you believe in happy ever after? You've kind of touched on it just there before about what we should aspire to. Can you unpack what your happy ever after looks like? Or if you have what, you may not think that happy ever after is a thing. So fill us in.
I don't know whether this is my Pisces brain, whether I watch too much Disney, or what is going on. I've got two little things that happen in my heart now. So one of them I think is my true self, which is absolutely believes in the whole forever love, and you can make it work and commit for life and all of that. Then there's the other bit of me, which is probably the slightly traumatized, now experienced person with now separated parents. So that kind of shattered my ideals a little. Yes. Who is how? I believe in it. I've seen it. And most of the examples, growing up, were very long-term relationships. And to be fair, even mum and dad were 30-something years together. That's a long time. My grandparents are 60 plus years. So I've definitely got examples of it. So I do think it can happen. It's more I'm now in the how the fuck does that happen?
Yes, I'm with you.
And I'm is it because it just gets I can't be bothered starting again with someone, so I'll just deal with this? Is it that they truly just are amazing communicators and work really hard at it? Is it that they've settled and that's why it's working, and they're not actually self-aware and they're they could be living their own individual best life? Is it that they have, I don't know, just are they truly, truly happy? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think go ahead.
I want that, and I do believe in it. Someone tell me how.
I think a part of the excitement though, Lauren, for me as I'm getting older, I'm very grateful. So as you know in the show, I talk about the relationship where I got engaged at 21. Fucking stupid.
Same.
But as I'm getting older, in my mid-30s, I'm beginning to feel like I am so grateful that I didn't get into a relationship get married at that age. Because there is so much joy and excitement of not knowing how that's going to happen and not already have everything concreted. And so I don't know if that's the creative side of me. I enjoy change. I enjoy trying to adapt to new situations. I love that. So maybe that's my creative side going, well, isn't it good? You've got all these stories that you can use in a show that I wouldn't have had if I got married at 21, 22. Yeah. I don't know. I think there is a gift. This is just because I haven't always thought this, because for a lot of my 20s and my 30s, I've gone, oh, fuck, why haven't I gotten what everybody else has got? But we've got to remember that we live in South Australia and people get married a lot younger here. And the expectation of that is the pressure's there, especially from a ethnic background, the pressure. Yeah.
And I was going to say anyone who's got a religious influence as well, that will tend to have a younger marriage age as well.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because if you don't have all the other ducks in line, like your career being grounded with who you are and knowing, being sure of who you are to some respect, how the fuck can you get into a marriage with the right person? How? I don't, like, what?
I talk about this a lot with my brother. So he and his beautiful wife were married at like 23 and 25.
Wow.
And I'm like now nearly 30 and was almost married, but not. And have had sort of like, we have literally done the exact opposite. So they're essentially first boyfriend, girlfriend, got married after a couple of years, and they're happily
Wow,
married.
that's good.
I was more like, I'm going to keep trying. Like, it's not for lack of bloody effort, but I'll tend to have, you know, anywhere from a 6 month to 2.5 year relationship, and then they just don't work out. So we have these conversations a lot. And I think the thing is, I don't think there's actually any problem with getting married young. I think the beautiful thing when it's right is that ultimately all you're doing is going, I'm going to commit to this. That's what your marriage is.
Yeah.
And I think they only work when you each have enough kind of communication and freedom within your little sphere of marriage to grow and evolve as your own individual. When they're expecting you to stay exactly the same human as you were at 21 when you got married, that's not going to work, because you still have to do your 20s. You're just doing your 20s with someone else.
Yes.
So I've done my 20s growing and evolving as me with a number of different partners, and they've all influenced me. But it's not to say I think you can still grow and evolve as a human and develop your career and figure out or create who you are. You're just doing it alongside someone else. And there's pros and cons on both sides.
Correct.
Like, I like that I've had X number of people influence that story for me. Whereas my brother is like, I like that I've got the stability of one person who really knows me intimately and can kind of help me and guide me through that path. So, you know, I think they're both valid, but they just have to be done in the right way.
Yeah, and I think it's really beautiful that you and your brother are able to see each other and accept each other for who you are and not judge each other for the different journeys, because I know it would be very easy for either or to judge that the other person, because they're doing it differently, is incorrect and less valuable. Just because somebody's worldview and life journey and experiences are different to somebody else, it doesn't mean one's right and one's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's gorgeous that you've got that relationship with your brother. That's lovely. That's a gift, Lauren. That's lovely. So let's talk about dating some more. Have you ever experienced unsolicited dick pics, and how have you dealt with them?
Oh my gosh. I was talking with some friends about this the other weekend. So I think I have always solicited to get, well, no, to be fair, I've never received like a totally random dick pic from like a complete stranger. Maybe apart from like once in year 9, there was a dick pic.
Jesus. Right.
Again, don't underestimate kids. So apart from like that one, I would say most of them have been in the context of a like a sexting conversation on like Messenger or Snapchat.
Well, that's good.
So it's been like the next step. However, it hasn't always been like, hey, send me a pic of your big dick. Like, it's been like, oh, here's a cheeky picture of me lying in my bed. Oh, here's the cheeky picture of you. Oh, another one of me. Oh, there's just your dick. Right. You know, like, can I say on this topic as well, I think it is hilarious, the different lens or perspective that particularly women take of themselves versus the photos that men take. So,
yes.
Because I've been with like both sexes, and probably if you would define it, I would be bi, but so like can vouch, if you like, for the different sexual.
Excellent. I'm interested.
Not just me. And women tend to have much more artistic, beautiful, like important where the shadows are and
the aesthetics
like,
of it.
You know, like, oh, a bit of side boob here and a bit of like bum cheek there, and like the lighting's low. Guys, and generally photos are from above, right? Like our selfie shot.
Yeah.
Or from like over your shoulder, showing your bum and stuff.
Yeah.
Guys are like straight under them, almost like from like their knee up.
Jesus.
And it's like, dude, I'm honestly, I don't know, maybe this bit's just me, but I'm like, you could literally just like put a little towel over your dick and send me the whole rest of your body. I'll be way more into it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not that, like, don't get me wrong, love your dick, it's hot, it looks great, can't wait to see it, but
in person, yeah.
just of it, like, that's not, I'm not being like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
Send me like
doesn't
that
do
V,
shit.
send me your V, send me your shoulders, send me like, you know, hot abs or not abs, whatever, like, be cute in your picture, even your face, your jaw, like, I don't know, your actual dick, like,
yeah, isn't it interesting?
With it. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Unless you're in the moment and actually partaking in physical contact, I don't understand the need to send the shaft. I don't get it. I don't get it because it's not. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make us go, oh, yes, please get that in me now. It doesn't do anything.
No. Whereas I've heard that guys are like, send me like an open-legged, like they want to see actually. I'm obviously not actually going to do that, but they are like so turned on by that. They're so visual. They are like, that would be so hot, and everyone's sending them artistic closed-legged, shoulder side through black and white, and they're like, just send me, like, just bloody take the picture. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I think that's why they send it. I think they're trying to say, like, hey, it's a safe place. Send me a picture of your bits. And we're like,
I want to see your vulva. No, that's for in person. That's for in person.
Isn't that funny, though?
Yeah.
They're, like, into it. We would be like, no way.
No. And I think maybe because, and I'm speculating here, maybe because their appendage is out there to be seen, and ours are enclosed somewhat. I don't know. Maybe there's something there in that they're just.
I reckon also we're more like feeling beings. Yeah. My head and my heart are connected to my WAP. Like she is not engaged if we have got anything on our mind or our heart. Yeah. She is not turned on.
Yes.
Whereas they're like, oh, look, a picture. Let's go.
Yeah. No.
A little bit more. Like, that's an exaggeration. And obviously it doesn't apply all of the time. But most of the time.
If you can't, for me, if you are not intellectually stimulating me, if you are not making my heart go, oh, I have feels, to even on a superficial level, I'm not going to want to see that dick or get in and around it. I'm not going to. It's just not, and I'm not going to enjoy the experience. If I'm literally having to think of somebody else to get me in the mood, then fuck, man, you're really not doing anything for me. You are just a warm, moving without me having to control it dildo. That's basically what you are.
But wouldn't a dildo be better sometimes?
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. It's interesting how differently we communicate when it comes to that stuff. And I know my gay friends are quite open with online dating and stuff. Guys send each other things all the time because they're on the same wavelength, same communication. But when it's the opposite sex, it's like, and just what you were saying before with women sending women pictures and how artful and, carefully thought out, and they've probably taken 100 photos before they get that photo. It's just so interesting. And I don't know, I still think, because my only experience with dick pics have been when the conversation is not remotely around anything sexual. And they just send
it randomly. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, obviously in a relationship, it's really different. When you're in a long-term relationship and you're trying something different, that's another kettle of fish, another completely different chapter. But when my only experience with unsolicited dick pics has been when we are not even remotely talking about something sexual, and it's like they just go through a collage that they have in their photos labelled my dick, and they just send, oh, this one looks good, I'll send that one. Like, it's just like,
oh my gosh.
oh, fuck.
So, you know, like Google Photos.
Yeah.
Photos get uploaded. Like, mine is set to automatically upload.
Oh, fuck, Lauren.
On my phone. So I've got accidentally, it won't let me search for like penis or dick. It doesn't identify it, which I think is weird, but I think it knows. But anyway, if I have a plan that if anyone ever sent me an unsolicited dick pic, I'll just go through my folder of dick pics that I have received and send them one back.
Yeah, a few women have said that in this podcast.
Their heads are not in it. Like, you know, nobody knows.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. It's just, I think one of my friends on a previous episode was talking about he now just gets really creative and artful with it and sends like weird, his dick costumed up like to other guys. Yeah, like just weird
I would be okay
shit.
with that. You know what? If you sent me an unsolicited dick pic and you had put in some effort and it was funny, I would probably be actually okay with it. Like, that would almost be like a pickup line for me. I would be like, you are fucking funny.
So guys, be creative. Be creative.
Yeah.
So what are the lessons, Lauren, that you've learnt from your online dating experiences that are different to organic relationships where you get introduced by friends or you meet out or whatever it is?
I feel like a couple of things. A, it's a numbers game. I think you have to be willing to, you know, swipe right on a fair few. You have to have a fair few conversations to narrow it down to the one who you want to give the number to, or one or two. You have to go out and actually have a couple of those coffees to figure out the one you want to go on the second date with. Like, it's a full-time job doing that. I already have too many jobs. So for me, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I also discovered, and I discovered this with like my previous engagement and like other relationships, I've always really struggled with the whole, this person ticks all the boxes versus this person I have strong chemistry, or like I'm really into, we have a good connection with. And it's not just sexual chemistry, it's like that attraction and interest and like charisma and stuff. Issue has always been that the ones who tick all the boxes, i.e., you know, oh, you've got such a solid job and your mum's nice and she likes me and like, you know, you're smart and all this stuff, generally doesn't align with all the bad boy things that like really get me going. So I've had a bit of a problem with that. So when I'm online, it's harder for me to go, like I'm sort of going, okay, your pictures are looking good, you're the right age, you have the right interests. And that then doesn't really tell me enough about like, are we going to have the chemistry part? Or I pick based on your hot as fuck pictures and then I like don't know anything about you. So for me, I have always preferred in person because the connection and chemistry is actually most important, like first of all, because I fall in love at the drop of a hat, whatever. I fall in love fast. I have all the feels very quickly. So for me, it's not a problem of, am I going to like the person? That's easy. I'll probably like them. So we can deal with the list later. Yeah. For me, it's like, have we got that element? And that's hard to tell online.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Lauren, and I totally agree. I'm all about, like, I've jumped on and off online dating and it's really not my jam. It's just, for so many reasons, it's not for me. And that's, you know, each to their own. But I'm definitely, I want to wait until the universe or whatever aligns for whoever's supposed to show up will show up, because I'm all about, like you were saying, the connection. And I've got to have all my senses engaged before I make a decision about somebody, as in, like, I want to be able to see you. I want to be able to see how you hold yourself, how you interact with other people. Body language, all that kind of stuff. I need everything on display before I go, yes, please, or no, thank you.
And it's also...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I think there's also with the like online scene, there is a purpose though that might be beyond finding your long-term lover. That I know when I come out of a relationship, there's that period where you're like, I don't want to see or talk to anybody. And then there's that part where you're like really low self-worth and value. And you're like, am I even attractive? Does anybody even like me? And I feel like it's actually a important part now in that journey of almost grief, if you like, of finding and creating yourself again out of that relationship, where you go online and people do match with you and you do get that little dopamine here, and then they have a conversation and then they go, oh my gosh, you're so good looking, or I'm really interested in you, and you're like, oh, thank you. Whereas you might not have that going out because you're still crying all day.
Yeah.
Whereas they don't know that because you're on an app. So you can look however you like. And I think that's been really nice. Also, I feel like being open-minded to it. Like I have some friends, like there were some people, like I've had some iffy like relationships that came out of it, but probably only one or two actual kind of like almost boyfriend, not quite, so that probably doesn't count, but like some that were just like a good fuck buddy, and then some who actually turned into just like nice friends. And I feel like it's important with the apps to just be open-minded. You don't know what it is going to be, and that's okay.
So let's talk about fuck buddies, friends with benefit.
Yes.
So I've, most of my adult life, I've been strongly against them. You're either my friend or it's a relationship. I'm not good at the grey because, like you said before, I get feelings really fucking quick.
Yeah.
And if I'm allowing you to see me naked, for us to enjoy each other's bodies, I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable. I don't like being vulnerable. I can do vulnerable on stage easy. I'm quite happy for an audience to see me being vulnerable, but one-on-one in real life with somebody, I fucking hate it, because I feel like at any point in time, and this is probably my life experience coming into play here, I feel like at any moment of me being really vulnerable and me being exactly who I am, they'll disappoint me or they'll go.
Yes. I feel like that's really like beautiful awareness of why that's not serving you or working for you.
Yeah.
And I think they're hard. Like I have a person and it's, I feel like maybe I didn't even appreciate how hard it is for that to work for most people. But maybe it comes down to who that other person is. Like we have there needs to be, okay, no, let me rephrase this. So I think there's friendship.
Yeah.
That's totally platonic. There is romantic relationship, or like, intimate, romantic, physical, sexual relationship. I think this is like a third. I think this is actually a third type. It's not a grey area. It is a specific kind of relationship.
Yeah.
There there are boundaries. You need to be using protection because you know that they might be with other people. You need to be understanding that if you're in a restaurant and you see them, they might be with somebody else because it's not an exclusive situation.
Yes, that's what I find hard.
You need to be respectful. You need to be trustworthy. You need to have a level of communication.
Yes.
I have found it needs to be like, it's not like I'm a piece of meat or you're a piece of meat.
Yeah.
It's that we're not really dateable material, but we are sexually compatible and we have human needs, and let's serve each other in that space where we fit, and we just don't fit in the other ones. And that's okay. We're both on our own little journey. And, one day I know that this relationship that we have together of fuck buddy is going to end because one of us is going to go
into something else. On that alone,
it has to be infrequent. That's the catch. So you can't have a fuck buddy who's seeing every week, because then it's a relationship. Then you are
then it's hard to disassociate. Yeah. It's hard to disassociate it. Yeah.
Correct.
So on that point, let me throw a spanner into the works, right? What if this fuck buddy has come about because timing's just been right and you've actually been friends for at least a couple of decades?
No, it can't be friends first.
Yeah.
No, it has to be in my opinion, or in my experience,
Yes.
I think if they're friends first, then you're correct. You can only either stay as friend or do proper relationship.
Because that gets too confusing.
Emotional intimacy. That's your foundation. You can't have emotional intimacy. You need to have like a shallow level of respect, trust, friendship with your fuck buddy, not a deep one, not 10 years.
Yeah, that's what makes it confusing, I think.
Yes.
Because
very confusing.
I've only ever, because I've felt safer to go down that road with a friend rather than with somebody that I don't know very well. I think that's where I catch feelings too quickly, because there is already a respectful, trustworthy, strong friendship there first. And then it's really difficult. And I think the key thing you've just said, Lauren, is about it can't be on the regular. It has to be sporadic, because on the regular is when it's like, well, hang on, I'm seeing you every week. This is a relationship, not a but then, as you said before, you know that person's sleeping with other people. And then it gets too messy and too complicated, I think.
And that's okay. I think it isn't going to work and be right for everyone.
Yeah.
And finding that magical time, maybe, like there's like a part in time where both of your stories just line up so that you can be each other's fuck buddy is rare. You know, like if I had met my person in 6 months' time, who knows, probably that wouldn't happen. But we just happened to meet at exactly the right moment and in the right way that it then, you know, progressed down that type of relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's rarer than people think, and I think most of the time it doesn't work out as they intend.
Yeah.
It can't be friends with benefits. It has to be my buddy that I sleep with.
Yeah.
That is our relationship. We're not friends, we're friendly.
Yeah. I think that's a very good distinction, Lauren. And thank you. You've just taught me something. I appreciate that, Lauren. That's some information that I needed. Okay, so from there, and we're kind of pushing in this direction, how have you dealt with heartbreak? What are the tips that get you through heartbreak, Lauren?
Oh my goodness, I have had some heartbreak and a half. You know what the sad thing is? I feel like I'm almost a pro at it. Like I've had so much of it that I almost know the process now.
Right.
Like I'm always like, all right, here's how it happens. So
yeah, tell me.
They'll be distant for, let's say they're breaking up with me, which tends to be the case.
That surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, I have done the breakup.
Yeah.
But it also surprises me. I'm a bloody catch. But
yeah, you're fucking sick, lady. Yeah.
For whatever reason, they have ended things with me. So they will be distant for a little while. You will ask anything up, what's happening? You're distant, blah, blah. They're like, no, everything's fine. And then eventually they will come over to your house so that you're in a safe environment in your place and they can leave. And they will sit you down and they will have the conversation and you will be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Please leave because this is obviously not recoverable. So you're figuring out first in that conversation, is this a conversation of like, hey, there's a big issue happening here, we need to fix it? Or, hey, there's a big issue here and I've already decided we can't fix it. And
so get the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, no problem. Here's the deal. You do not contact me at all. I will contact you if and when I ever am ready. And I might not ever be. So when you leave this door, that's it. I have discovered that you can be friendly. You, in my experience, cannot be friends.
Yes, correct. I agree.
Properly, but you don't have to hate each other. Like you've served a purpose. You're a chapter in their life. You're a chapter in their story. You can have mad love and respect and wish them absolutely all the best, but you probably can't hang out all the time. You definitely cannot see them for like 3 months.
Nope.
Talk to them. So immediate silence. You obviously call all of your girlfriends immediately. You get into bed and you just cry. Then you will go through like distraction phase. So for me, it is like work.
Yeah.
Then you'll go through a like angry, confused, I want to message them, I just want clarity, I want to understand, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Then you go into focus on me phase. So that's the fun bit where you're like, I am going to get fit. I am going to eat right. I am going to like do whatever I want. I'm going out. I'm going to buy new clothes. Like, and so it's kind of the refresh. And from there you start to like recreate, rebuild yourself with moments of those other previous feelings.
Right.
And then those moments get fewer and far between. And then you're good out the other side.
I love that, Lauren. Thank you for breaking that down in such detail, because I've asked guests before that same question and people seem to give one response maybe and not go into so much detail, but I love that and I'm grateful for that. And I'm actually going to use that if and when I ever dip my toe in the relationship thing again, because it's been a long time. I think
There's
that's
also a great
really good.
app, Carla. There's a really good app called the Breakup app.
Yes.
I think it's by Zoe Foster Blake.
Breakup Boss. Yeah.
Breakup Boss.
I've got her books. I've got her apps.
So, yes. So the app, the best thing that I found about the app was that you can send a text message to the app rather than to your ex. And be like, F you stupid idiot, I'm amazing. Or like crying faces all day, and it will send you something back encouraging and be like,
oh, wow.
Don't you feel better? Please don't send that to him or her. Like, you know, you've got this girl now.
I'm going to get it. So it's an actual app.
It's an app.
Okay, I'm downloading it right the fuck now.
And there's a little like Wheel of Fortune as well. So you can like log in on, you know, or pop into the app that day and you can pick your feeling and be like, I am feeling like I'm totally independent, you know, his mistake. Or you
is it that?
Like, well, why would he ever leave me? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's really helpful if you don't have like the best network of friends as well. Like for me, I need free reign to like vent and say all of the silly things, which in hindsight you like, I don't know, I don't think you would regret saying, but you go, I need, you know, 2 or 3 safe places where I can just vent to my friends. Yeah. But you know that you're also burdening them with a lot of your
correct. And I don't like doing that. Yeah.
You have to though, like 2 or 3 though, so that you're evening it out.
Yeah.
And you're not hitting them all every day, all day.
Yeah.
And also, because again, like I feel like I've done this a number of times, my family and my friends also just know the program. And so it's almost like, hey guys, we're back in breakup time. And they're like, no worries. Do you want to come to our house tonight? Who's got her for breakfast the next day? Is someone dropping over
nice.
food? How about you come to the football with us? Do you want to come to the show? So literally like, so my brother and his wife, then, you know, the night of the big breakup last year are like, we're going to the movies, you're coming with us. The very next morning, my other best friend literally is like, we're going out for breakfast. I'm picking you up.
Oh, so that's like, nice, Lauren. My you got a good network, woman. You got a good network.
Best third wheel ever. I'm very well practiced.
Yeah, I'm good at the third wheel. I'm happy. It's funny, speaking of third wheels, and we were speaking about this on kind of this topic on another episode, but it's interesting the female dynamic in third wheels and or, for example, say if I go out to dinner with all my mates who are all in couples and I'm like the 11th wheel, I don't give a shit. But it's interesting when there's new girlfriends in that mix. A lot of the time, because we are so indoctrinated to be against each other as women, it's like a threat that I'm there by myself with no attachment when everybody else is attached, and I just don't care. Like, I'm there to enjoy my friends and have a good time. I'm not there to steal your boyfriend, honey. If I wanted to, he wouldn't be your boyfriend. Like, it's easy.
Also that they assume that any other girl would be like a possible candidate. And I don't mean like, obviously you would be a wonderful candidate, but
Thanks,
in
Lauren.
the sense that we walk into a room and we're just like, oh my gosh, another woman. Of course my man will like her. Like, what? Why? Why would
but we've so been indoctrinated to be like that.
Yeah, it's so true.
So interesting.
Very true.
So interesting. But yes, I'm very well practiced at being a third wheel to many of my friends who are married with children and whatnot. I have no issue with that. I don't feel uncomfortable at all.
Oh my gosh, Stella, on that. So I have a girlfriend. So we're like besties, and she got a new boyfriend.
Yes.
And she had to have a conversation with him because early on in their relationship, he got upset that she had told me something that he thought was like intimate with them.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I think we need to have the like
Conversation
fear of secrecy like conversation. Like, you have to specifically tell me if this is something just for you and me, babe. If you don't tell me specifically, then you have to assume Lauren will know. I will tell her everything.
Yeah.
And you get one person. This is how I think about it. You get one girlfriend that is in your relationship.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, you need to break things down. Yeah.
The time that, we did X, Y, Z, and then the stuff came out of my nose. You need to be able to talk about this stuff. And then the poor guy is like, what? Why are you telling your friends? So you have to be like, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to tell all of them.
All my friends, there's one.
One of them.
Yeah.
Unless you absolutely tell me I cannot.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So much to navigate. But I really love the fact that you've got such excellent friends and family around you that are like, okay, I'm willing to pick you up when you are feeling down. That's so important because not everybody has that. I don't fucking have that.
That's true. Well, you just call me when you need.
Thanks, Lauren.
I got you.
And vice versa.
Don't you worry.
Vice versa, woman. So on that delightful, happy, rosy note, what parting words of wisdom would you like to give our listeners before we sign off?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I feel like some very important things that I have learned in my journey include that your partner, man, woman, whatever, is attracted to every bit of you. If you're on top and your stuff's jiggling around, they are into it. Like, we are too often trying to like hide our belly, or why am I cellulite, or don't look at my bum hole, or whatever. And like, they're so about it. Just like open up emotionally, physically, like whatever, and just like really truly enjoy, because the more that you let those inhibitions go, the more you're actually going to enjoy it. And so with that, they are into it. The more that it moves, the better. Number 2 would be have your one like girlfriend. Have your person who you can tell anything to, and that they will be a vault, because I think often like, and this kind of comes into my whole like, oh yeah, play it cool. Like, there is a part of us, I think, that we need to process things, and you don't necessarily, you can't, I feel like one person, i.e. your romantic relationship, actually can't serve all roles.
Correct.
And you might need to have a brother, or you might need to have a girlfriend, or you might need to have a mentor, or you might need to have whoever to kind of work through some stuff that isn't always worked through with your partner. Like, it might be a you thing. But on that, I think being really open and honest with your partner is important, because you need to be able to evolve with that person, and that's hard, and I don't know how you do that, but I've heard that communication's really good. And then also that I feel like guys need to be okay with the fact and not take it personally if somebody wants to go slower or say no, or to try something really new and different, and be open-minded to that, because I think things in relationships, and particularly sexually in relationships, should be like Vegemite. You have to try it twice, in my opinion. And if you still don't like it, never do it again.
Yeah, Lauren, awesome advice. I loved that. That was excellent. So good. Lauren, I just want to say before we sign off, I am so grateful that you've been so open and willing to go into the finite details with your responses. I've learnt stuff, which is so important. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much for coming on your day off, darling. And I hope you have
very welcome.
A great rest of your day. Thanks, Lauren.
You're so welcome. I can't wait to come back. I love this.
Woo, woo, woo. Yep, come back anytime, Chicky babe. Anytime.
Bye.
Love you long time. See you, beautiful.
The Catch-a-Lorette with friends near and far, from heartache to catfish and sex toys. The Catch-a-Lorette and friends. See you next time if you dare.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the planet checking account. It gives back to the planet at no cost to you, and there's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement. Only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.